Okay, we're going to talk about inside linebacker play. The inside linebacker is the foundation, the rock of the defense. All the other players are supporting them. The D-line's job is to keep the offensive lineman off of them, and all the support players, the secondary support players, are fitting off those inside linebackers. They're reading. They're going to read and react. They're reading the offensive linemen. These obviously need to be tough players. They need to be special players. They're not always our best athletes. They're always the biggest kid. This kid that just got Defensive Player of the Year for us is about 180, 185 pounds. The kid we got coming back that's going to be really good, he had 185 tackles as a junior. He's about 190, but they work hard in the weight room. They're tough, and they're real dependable. We make sure we have a really good backup. We have lost them to injury. They're making 180, 200 tackles a year. 2 years ago, we made the section finals. Both of the inside backers had 200 tackles apiece. They really got to be the reading. They cannot get their eyes in the backfield. The offensive linemen are going to tell them everything they need to know. And then it's very important that they do their job because everybody else is feeding off of it. I don't have a lot of drills to show you. We don't do a lot with these kids because it really just comes down to just read your lineman and get to the football. They don't have a lot of other responsibilities. So let's go through the presentation. We've got a little bit of film to show you, and I'll show this out and show you how it all fits together. So let's go to the board. I've already went over the goals of the previous DVDs, but just real quick, we make a big deal about it. You can send them whatever you want. What I think is important is that you communicate with the kids and that if they hit a goal, recognize it. Don't just make it lip service. We do the helmet decals. We put the things up on the board. The players are evaluated. We post their grades every Monday, and it's a big deal, and they go look at that. There's certain numbers they have to hit to be rewarded, and there's certain numbers that they need to hit to not have to have some extra conditioning requirements put on them as what we affectionately call Panther reminders. So whatever your goals are, make sure you communicate it. Our coaching staff discuss it. We revisit them every year. They change once in a while. They even sometimes change middle season. I'll add something on there if I think it's really important. We keep things simple. These are 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. I think we need to all thinking on offense, and let's just react and go hit somebody on defense. Don't make this hard. Don't make this complicated. And don't ask kids to do things that they aren't capable of doing. I've always felt like it was a mistake to have defensive linemen drop back into coverage. I think it's a mistake to just be checking every time and have all these checks and these rules, and then there's exceptions. Every time you make a rule, there's going to be an exception. Come up with just some basic principles that are not going to change no matter how they line up. And that's what I think what you're going to like or have liked, hopefully, through these DVDs. And so let's go through that. This is an overview. We're a bounce and attack when it comes to run, and those are those people's jobs. So whatever we draw up and whatever formation, and whether we're doing the 4-2-5, the 4-4, or our 3-4 front, we ask ourselves these questions. I come back and ask ourselves these questions, and are we changing any jobs? And if we are, the coaches sit down and talk about it, and we see if we modify it, or we'll throw the defense out. We won't do it. You've got to know how to tackle. It's kind of a duh moment. If you're going to move the ball on offense, you better know how to block, and if you're going to stop people, you need to learn how to tackle. I think sometimes coaches get so concerned with all these X's and O's and checks and their coverages and their drops and how we're going to do this, and they got all these fancy blitzes, and they get so caught up with their technique, and they might be the best rip team, and they've got all these fancy bag drills, and they forget about their tackling. We're going to spend 15 minutes a day on tackling. We get an hour on defense every day, and we're going to spend 15 minutes of it on tackling. And I don't even know if that's enough, because that's only spending 25% of our time on tackling when you have to tackle somebody every play. So we spend a lot of time on this. Obviously, we do our team tackling that we already showed you, and then we do position-specific tackling. And we make this a big deal. These are very specific. Another thing we always do here at Porterville is we make the technique word match the drill. So we're asking him to do that tough technique and the tough read that he sees in his playbook. So this whole drill is called the tough drill. And we make that fit. Just like this drill is called the fast drill. We call it the fast drill because then he knows, oh, that's the technique coach kept telling me in window drill, and that's the technique I saw in my playbook. So they go through and they do these drills and make sure it matches. We take on everything with the inside shoulder. So here, bam, 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 go. And maybe change up the blocks here. Maybe if you're a college team, you could try to cut block. Maybe have one guy take them on with the left shoulder, next guy with the right shoulder, put one guy with a shield, one guy without a shield. Somebody could roll a ball at him to simulate a cut block. You can get real creative here, but it's got to be fast. Bam, 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 right now. Profile tackle, helmet in front. And again, always, 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 when he wraps up and grabs cloth, He doesn't let go until he shows the coach. So the coach is screaming, show me, and you spin that running back around and you show him that you're grabbing cloth, and then when he says, okay, good, and you let go because we're all about iron grip. This is not the tackling progression that I showed you in the tackling circuit. This is pick a hole. Whatever hole the running back picks, you're going to violently get through and explode. What this is teaching is we want to make sure we have a triangle. So let's say the running back had gone through and he's over here now. So we want a triangle like this, and the linebacker's here. Okay? Basically what we're trying to get them as a relationship, they need to have about a 1 to 2 yard lag times to take care of the cutback. How much should this distance be? Depends how quick you are. If you're really quick, you can cheat up and get right on top because you know you can redirect. You're a little bit slower, then you might have to lag a little bit so that you can't cut back. And we do let them cut back in this drill. We do let them cut back in this drill. So if this guy over pursues, the running back could pick this hole, and then bam. So we want to make sure, and we're allowed to put moves here. We want to put our shoulder down. This is what we call a slobber knocker drill. They get after it. What's he trying to really work in a perfect world? He wants to meet him at the line of scrimmage, helmet across, grab cloth, high knee it through, lift the guy, and land the running back on his back over here. That's what should happen in a perfect tackle. Okay, so this is only done in our position groups. I don't really see a need that the DBs or the D linemen need to do this drill. So these are drills that we do very, very specific to the linebackers. Now, when I say we spend 15 minutes a day on tackling, we don't spend 15 minutes on position tackling. Maybe one day we do tackling circuit, then the next day I just say, okay, everybody's going to tackle in their positions. And then maybe the next day we do funnel drill. But we are doing some sort of a tackling drill every day. Just like in our weight room, we believe in variety, make it fun, expose the kids to as many situations as possible. Don't do the same thing over and over and over again. Make it fun, give them variety, challenge them mentally at different angles, make them use different muscles.